Hi there. This is Suzanne from the Marks Group with your, what day is it today? Thursday, 1 o'clock training class. And today we'll be reviewing Zoho Campaigns, which is another one of
Hi
the.
there. This is Suzanne.
Let's get to turn off my computer audio, which is another one of the Zoho applications in the Zoho suite outside of CRM, but syncs with CRM. Basically, Campaigns is an email marketing tool, very similar to MailChimp or Constant Contact. It has that same kind of functionality. So we're going to be going through that today. We're going to look a little bit about how we integrate it with CRM, and then we're going to go through the functionality of creating a campaign and sending a campaign, and we'll dabble a little bit into the automation that Campaigns offers as well. Okay, yeah. So that's pretty much our agenda for this afternoon class. And just a couple things before we get started. I want to draw your attention to the chat window on the right side of the screen. This is pretty much how we communicate. So if you have any questions during the presentation of the material, please feel free to pop a chat in the window, and I'll do my best to keep an eye out for chats coming in and respond to them real time. Then we'll have some time at the end of the class as well to for any additional chatting that's needed for any questions. When the class is over, we will keep the chat window up, so it'll be live for a little bit more time. Again, if you go on and try to go into your campaigns and try to do things, and you have questions, we'll be available live to address those questions. And then after that, after we close the chat window down, you can always email your questions into our support@marksgrouplive.com email address for answers as well. And there's also always our live chat widget during business hours on the website. So with that, we will get started. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by emails popping in on my screen. So with that, we'll get started with campaigns, and I'm going to switch you over to to my screen view. So we'll be looking at our training version of campaigns. To full screen share. Okay, that is not our training version. Let me get this one down. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna do a little window cleanup here. You don't need to see my postman. Okay. Okay, all right, just checking the chats. Nothing. Two members. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. So we're gonna start in our dashboard. So this is campaigns, and you can get there from CRM by either going to your accounts page, your home page for Zoho, and going and hitting the application button and getting there, or you can simply open another tab, log into your CRM, open another tab, and type in campaigns.zoho.com, and that'll take you to your campaigns. One thing I want to mention also about the campaigns is that while CRM, everybody's under the same organization and you're all within the same CRM account, people within the same CRM account can actually create their own Zoho Campaigns accounts. So be careful when you're setting up your campaigns, and just check with your organization's users to see if anyone has set it up yet. And if you all want to be in the same campaigns account, if someone has already set it up, then you want to have them add you as a user, so that way you're all within the same account. If you want separate accounts, then you just come out to campaigns and it'll set it up for you, and then you can move forward. I do want to also talk a little bit about campaigns pricing before I launch into the functionality of it. So if you're a Zoho One user, campaigns is included. Excuse me, there are some limitations. I believe you get 5,000 subscribers per CRM user. So if you need more than that, you do have the option to pay extra to be able to maintain more than that number of subscribers. And I do believe emails are unlimited as well, but I will double check on that and send out a an update to on the video if that's incorrect. Okay. So let's get started. The first thing I want to point out is this GDPR. So you're going to be seeing that it stands for General Data Protection Regulation. They've just added some features. It's more geared towards the European Union, and it's basically just trying to control spam. So it requires you to send out an email opt-in list to all your users, and they need to opt in. And if they, and then once they opt in, you can then send them emails. So that's what that's all about. I'm not going to take too much of a deep dive into that at this point, but you can either hit the button, take me to setup, or learn more about it. But again, it's geared towards getting that opt-in to comply with the new spam requirements that the European Union have instituted. Okay, so here in our dashboard, we have some buttons at the top here, so we can. They're kind of some buttons basically pulled out from this menu, and then we also have some some dashboard widgets here that give us a kind of a view into how things are going with our plan. So this is our training. We have not actually sent out a campaign from this. So that's why it's sitting there saying you don't have any campaigns yet. But if we had, then it would list the recent campaigns that went out and some data along with those. Over here, we have our list and subscribers. So I have created, I did start, I did set up a synchronization with CRM initially, so we would have a list and some subscribers up here. So that's what we're seeing now. We've got one list, we've got 23 subscribers, and they were all just added because I just did it about 10 minutes ago. And then here you've got just some numbers about your campaign, and this is a good one because we are a Zoho One platform in this training account. It's showing that we get 5,000. We have 2 users in our account, and we get 5,000 per user. So it's going to show me I have 23, so it's not even registering on the meter because I get up to 10,000. So you have a nice little graph here to show you how close you're getting to your limit, and if you need to purchase some additional room there or weed out maybe some of your subscribers. Okay, and then these are all pretty self-explanatory, these dashboard widgets. I can do a little customization on the dashboard within campaigns. I can turn on and off the widgets. Okay, and I also have some action buttons on these as well. So as you can see here, I can add subscribers, I can create a list, or I can create a sync right from this dashboard widget. And I also have the refresh button, so I can, if I've been sitting on this screen for a while, I can just refresh this widget and it'll go grab the data and update the information for you. Okay, so that's our dashboard in campaigns. So I'm just going to basically walk down this menu and introduce all the different control aspects and basically again how you use it. So we're going to come into campaigns, and I have 3 types of campaigns that I can launch. A regular campaign, which is pretty much what 95% of the people use. There's also social campaigns, which basically means you can connect your social media to Zoho Campaigns and post to your social media from Zoho Campaigns. So I could connect my Facebook account to here, and then I can do a Facebook post right from here. Same with Twitter. I think Google Plus is also integrated as well, but that's what social campaigns means. And then advanced campaigns are things like you could do an A/B campaign. You can do I'm sorry, one explain. So an A/B campaign is something where you send out 2 campaigns to 2 different lists, and then you can compare them Did you get a better response to one or the other, and measure that response. Sorry, just one quick distraction here. I'm getting a client that's emailing me, and it looks like it's kind of urgent, so I just want to reply to them very quickly and let them know when I'm going to be available. Okay. Sorry. Hang in there. Okay. So let's pop into regular campaign. Oops, lost my cursor. There we go. So let's open regular campaign and see what we have. So here's a demo campaign that's been created for previous training classes. But we're going to start fresh and hit the Create Campaign button. And basically I have some general information that I first enter about my campaign. So there's a little tooltip right here in this saying this name of the campaign is for your own reference. So a couple best practices here. You always want to make this unique. So if you send out a newsletter every month, you don't want to just call this newsletter every time. You want it to be descriptive enough so that when you look at that name, you know exactly what that is. So if it's like an October, or if it's a newsletter, we can say newsletter, December 2018. Okay. So we know that again, it distinguishes it from all the other ones. The subject is the subject of the email. So this is where you want to get your attention grabbing line so that your recipients will see the subject and be interested enough to open your email. You can also add some what Campaigns calls merge tags, very similar to CRM template merge tags, where you can put information, or you can merge information into the subject line. So you could add somebody's first name and say something like, hey, Suzanne, here's our December newsletter. So to do that, I would do the personalize and add subscriber's first name. That's not super catching, but that's basically how you do a merge tag. You can personalize the sender details as well. So default data is basically, it's just going to go from whatever email address you have available that you've already set up in Campaigns. So obviously, if you've created this campaign account, your email address will be available to you to use. You can also add additional sender addresses. They don't necessarily have to belong to a user. It could even be a generic info@marksgrouplive.com. You can set up more organization type emails, or so that those are your options for default data. And then you can add a sender name in here, like I could put my name, or we could say from team at Marks Group Live. So you could just put anything in here. Okay, so that's your options for default data. And then you can also, once you have your CRM integrated with Campaigns, you can also choose to use CRM data. And what this means is that this campaign will go out to to all the people that you choose, all the recipients that you choose, and we'll see that in a later step. And because we've synced this with our CRM, it's going to look like it's coming from the record owner in CRM. So if you've got a sales team and you want the campaign to look like it's coming from whoever the account owners are, this would be a great option for you to use that CRM data. So I'm just going to go back to default. Okay, and it's basically we're stepping through these 4 steps of the campaign wizard. So there's some basic info. Now we're going to go to, when I click next, I'm going to go to content. After I build my content, then I go to and select my recipients. And then finally, it's a verification and send step. So I'm going to come here to next. And now we're looking at content. So I can start with a prefabbed template. So my templates are, if you create something, you can store them as a template for future use. So we don't have any in there yet. There are some pre-designed templates that are kind of holiday-ish. So let me pop into that and show you what that kind of looks like. So there's some like kind of business newslettery templates already kind of prefab that you can use, and then at least start with that template foundation, and then go in and change images and change text, or even use the images that are in there. And then you see here's some of the holiday ones. So if you're sending out any kind of, these are obviously a little past, but there were a bunch that were in for retailers to send out Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all those types of things. There's Christmas ones, holiday, New Year, seasons, some generic. So you can kind of browse through those to see if any of those fit your need. Or you can go with a basic template. And a basic template is basically just an image and text layout that you can start with. And so these are, these might be good for newsletters and kind of more slick marketing material that you want to send out, where you can basically start with this and then replace images and replace text within there. So that's another option. And then I also have some options down here. So I can open my HTML editor, which basically gives me a blank sheet, and then I can just create an email like I would in my email client. So I can add images, I can, and that's what we're eventually going to get into. So we'll see that. You can also use just a plain text editor. If you have something developed externally, like if you have somebody that develops your marketing material and they send you something, you can use this to import or upload that. Or you can go back to a recently sent and choose and basically clone a recently sent campaign and start from there. So we're going to open up the HTML editor. So I want to show you that. So I've got I've got my tool palette across the top, some basic stuff, some things I can do to the font. I can change color, and I can change my colors and my font, my alignment. I can put bullets in. I think that's an eraser. I can insert an image, and I can insert links in here. I can add a horizontal line. And then this little subtle icon here is where you can actually pop open the HTML and edit directly in your HTML. So let me show you what that looks like. It's not very pretty. It's not formatted nicely. It's all kind of runs together. So it's a little headache inducing to have to look through it and find exactly where you need to go in and change things. But if you're HTML, CSS savvy, sometimes that's the easiest thing to do to get what you want if the tools don't support what you're looking to do. So I'm just going to cancel that. And then again, just like CRM, there's merge tags here. So we have, these are categorized up in Campaigns. So we have subscriber merge tags. So that's what's going to be your basic first name, last name, email. It's going to be in your subscriber merge tags. We've got header and footer, list, video, comment, print, and then down here is our subscriber custom merge tags. So again, your standard merge tags are first name, last name, video. Oh, sorry, that's how much I'm paying attention to the chat. I just saw the other message. Thank you for understanding. So we have our subscriber custom merge tag. So you can create, and you have to do that in the setup before you get into this part, because and it tells you how. So it says no created yet, but if you need to create them, you go to settings and merge tags. And I'm going to make a little note that I want to make sure we visit that after going through this setup. So if you have, if there's additional data that you wanted to include, like maybe the company name or, the state where they're located or any other data related to your CRM or related to your subscriber, your contact, then you would need to first create those as custom merge tags, and then you'd be able to merge them into the email. Okay, so basically, again, this is just like I'm in Outlook or Mac Mail or whatever email you use, except I've got the benefit of the merge tag. So I can just start typing my email as a regular email. So I can say hi and then merge in the first name. And then send my email. So I'm sorry, I'm struggling for a good example of what I can do, but I'm just going to go with the old blah, blah, blah for now. Clearly, when you're sending out a marketing email, you'll know what you want to say. Because I want to show how we can insert images and links. So let's first go with the image. So I just click on that. It's as simple, I can do a drag and drop, or I can click on that to get a browse. So let me go to my desktop. Let me try to find a fun picture. Okay, so I can pull that in. So I've got alignment changes. I can adjust. I can change size and spacing. So this is, clearly huge, and we want to change that down a lot smaller. Can do fit page. We've got a lot of options here, and say save. Okay, so there's how we would enter an image, and then let's go with a link. So I can highlight text, I can click my insert link, and I can either make it a mail to by choosing email, or I can type in a URL and basically set that up. So I just type in the URL, and again, it turns it into a link, and then when I click that from my email, that's going to take me to wherever my UL was directing me. So I'm going to say cancel for this. So I think that's pretty straightforward. So basically, we continue to build our email. And then once we get our content set up, we can say save and proceed. Okay. Then I can, there are what Zoho calls themes, and it's basically setting up your header and footer. So these gray pieces, this the shaded gray area at the bottom in my footer, and the shaded gray area at the top are my themes. So this is the default Zoho Campaigns theme, which looks like that. You can set up custom themes if you want to have them look a little different. Okay, let's see. So that's, so again, this step is all about setting up your content. So let's go to next. And now we're going to look at recipients. So now I've got my content, and now I have to decide or select who I want to send it to. So the only list I have right now is my 23 CRM contacts. So I can choose to send this email to them just by clicking this box and popping that over to there. So it's showing me I have one selected list. And then and we're gonna dive a little bit more into lists as we get into subscribers in our next unit here. So I pick whatever lists that I want to send this to. And sorry about that for the phone call. And then I move on to the last step, which is verify. So I've created my content, I've selected my recipients, and now the last step is to send it out for review. And basically this explains it here as well. So it's just looking for, just to make sure that it's not offensive. It's just checking it for what they call abusive language. So so basically, it gets reviewed to make sure that it's excuse me, it's not offensive. So that's what the review team does. And once it comes back and it's been verified, then you'll have two buttons here for sending. So you can say, you can either choose to send it immediately, or you can choose to send at a later scheduled date and time. Okay. So let's look at a couple of the others options down here. If you have Google Analytics, you can activate that. There's also subscriber scoring, and you can go in and set up scoring to basically just see, how active they have been in your accounts. And so if somebody is never opening your emails, they're going to have a low score. If people are opening and clicking in your emails, they're going to have a higher score. So you can prioritize your subscribers using that. We talked about social integrations already, to be able to send out social campaigns. There's some subject and sender details, email, and then there's also email content. Here's our CRM integration settings. We have options here. Again, when we've integrated our campaigns to CRM, we can elect to create the campaign into CRM. So we're basically pushing information from campaigns that's happening in campaigns and pushing that down into Zoho CRM. So one of the first things is when we create a campaign and send it out of campaigns, we create that campaign as well in CRM. And then subsequently, as our recipients are responding to our campaign, that information also gets pushed down into CRM. So when I look at a campaign that's been sent, I can look at all of my recipients in CRM and see what Zoho calls member status. And it's either going to be sent, which means they received it, but they didn't do anything with it. And then you also see open or clicked or bounced. So that information gets pushed down and it's collected with the recipient's record in CRM. Okay. There's also some automation that we can add in campaigns by doing some workflow setup here. So I can click that on, and then I can choose that I want to trigger workflow in campaigns for opens and or for clicks. So I haven't created any workflow, so that's why it's not there. But and that is under automation where we would create that workflow, and we're going to see that in a little bit. Okay. And we're going to see that in a little bit. Okay. But that's, so you can create automation and again, we'll go through the subscribers tab and then the automation tab, and that's where you create it, but it's not going to be triggered until you add it here to a workflow. Okay. So, and I can also edit, once I have things set up, I can also hit edit from here as well. So this is kind of like a summary of your whole campaign, and I can go in and check, change things here from this view, which is kind of a nice view. Please note that if you send it out for review and it comes back and it's all good, and then you go in and you edit the content, you have to send it back out again. So just be aware of that. Okay, so at this point, we're just going to save and exit because clearly I'm not going to send this out. So I'm just going to save and exit that. Okay, and then so once I come in here, after I save and exit, it's going to give me again some summary information, a preview of what it looks like with my sweet cat. And then from here, again, when I click in here, I can go right to verify to send. I don't have to, go through that whole wizard again. I can go to my edit menu, and then I've also got more options here. So I can, for the more options, I can make a copy of this. I can delete it. I can throw it in my archive or say it's dormant. Okay. So that's campaigns. That's our campaigns tab. If there are no questions regarding that, I'm going to pop into subscribers. So in my subscribers tab, I can look at a list of all my subscribers. I can manage my list. I can manage my sync services, my signup forms. Here's where I can look at my subscriber scoring, and I can manage my consent, which ties back to the first thing that we talked about, that GDPR opting in. That's where you go to get that all set up and manage that. Okay, so let's first pop in and look at all subscribers. So I can add and organize columns of information with this button. I can also search with this button. Over here, I can import directly in. I can go to my syncs from here, and then under my More menu, I can export. I can add to Do Not Mail, or I can do an import overview. Okay, so I can also spot add a subscriber right here, or I can, if I add multiple subscribers, it's going to give me multiple lines to add those. And then if I wanted to import directly in, I can do that from here. So let's open up the search box. I want to show you a couple things here. So if you're, you can search for somebody, you can do an advanced search and set up criteria. So you can search on fields and say how many people have state Pennsylvania. So we can do that. Pop that open again. And I also want to point out that you have these views as well. So when you're searching, be aware of what view that you're searching in. So you have active subscribers, block subscribers, bounce subscribers, do not mail. So these are also good things to to be able to look at. Like certainly your bounce subscribers, it's always good to be monitoring who's bouncing and get that cleaned up. So this is where you can identify in what view you're searching. And then also if you have multiple users in your account and you've set up, let's say maybe you set up the lead sync under your account and somebody else set up the contact sync under their account, they are the official owners of the contact, you're the official owners of the sync. So when this says my subscribers, if there are other subscribers, and again, we don't have, you can just say like, I want to see all users. I want to search through everything. So just be aware of that as well. when you're looking for somebody and they're not coming up, that could be why. Okay. We cancel out of that. So that's our all subscribers list. Let's go into manage lists. So I've got, again, I have the CRM contacts list that I created with a synchronization between CRM and campaigns. And that's all, and I set that up that's all my contacts in CRM. Okay. So I have 23 in there. So if I wanted to market to a subset of that list, I can do that by creating what Campaigns calls a segment. So right now, my CRM contacts list, again, are all my contacts. I can create a segment and let's call these, and I don't even know if this is going to give me a good hit here, but I'm going to say PA contacts. So I want this to just show me the subscribers that I have in this list where the state is PA. Save. So so now I've got this segment, PA contacts, and I can look at excuse me, what subscribers are in that segment by clicking this button. So good, I picked a good example. So out of my 23, I have this set of, supposed to tell you how many at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 are in my are fit this criteria for coming into this segment. And note also that these segments and these lists are dynamic. So as you add contacts to your CRM, and as you add, state information and other information, it does it synchronizes on a daily basis. That's the shortest frequency that you can set up a sync, is daily. There is also a immediate sync option, if you're a paid subscriber, or if you're if you're a Zoho one, you have immediate sync available to you. Excuse me. Okay, and I'm sorry. So I was talking about the dynamics of the list. So as you're adding data, and that data is syncing up to campaigns, um, whatever meets the criteria at the time that you choose that list and send out your campaign, those are the people that will become your recipients. So it's not just a snapshot. It's dynamic, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So that's segments, and that's pretty much that's really the key um, thing that you need to know about managing lists, is creating the list and then being able to create segments. Okay, going back into here, let's look at sync services. So right now, it's sync services with all these different applications that campaigns can be integrated with. So right now we just have it integrated with our CRM, and I have one active sync. That's a campaigns or that contact sync that I set up. So when I click on that, I can see my information about the sync. I can view details, which is going to tell me there's 31 total. I got 23 in, but 8 were ignored. And then I can look at why they were ignored. And 7 of them had an empty email address. 1 is a duplicate email address. So this is a really good, again, best practice when you're setting up these syncs, to monitor this, and especially looking at your ignored, to see why, because you might get up there and find that you were expecting to find 31 and there's only 23, and what's going on there, and this is where you find those answers. Okay. So that's view details. I can also edit my sync. I can edit the mapping, and I can edit retrieval. Mapping is basically what information I'm bringing up from CRM. So we'll take a look at that. And standard, when I initialize a sync, is last name, email, and first name. And then you can add more fields. I added lead source and mailing state here, but I can map more fields by clicking that map more fields. And then I can choose any field that I have in my CRM. So you can browse through, or if you know what field you're looking for, you can search. I'm going to say I also want the mailing city. And then I can map that to an existing field in campaigns, so it already does have city. Or if it's a custom field that I created in CRM, I can just click new field and create a new field up in campaigns. Okay. So this is something, basically, these sync services is something you should be doing infrequently. You basically set them up and then they run. So there might be times where you realize you want to create a segment based on, maybe the account industry. I also want to point out this button. I can click that, and then it's also going to add in my account information. So my account name, the website, and the industry is my standard. And then when I map more fields, I now have my account information. So I have my related account record that I can grab fields from, which is really convenient. It wasn't always that way. That's something that they've recently added. I'd say within the last year or two, they added this fetch account information. Okay, so I'm just gonna cancel out. I just wanted to show you that that's the option. So you can get, not only can you get information that's in the contact record, but you can also pull information in the related account record as well, and pull that up to campaigns. And okay, and then so once you've made your updates, you can either just save and exit and let it refresh the next time, or I can click initiate, and it may or may not run. If it's already run that day, it might not run until it's scheduled to run again. I actually have this set up as weekly. Okay, so that's information on modifying an existing link. Let's look at, I'm sorry, an existing sync is what I was looking for. So let's go back to sync services. Come into this active sync, and let's look at what's entailed in creating a new sync. So I'm going to add a new sync. So I do have this immediate or periodic. So I'm going to do immediate for this time, and I'm going to say it's leads, and my sync name is just going to be CRM leads. I can choose to do all leads, or I can choose from a custom view, and I can select the view. Clearly, it already has to be created. So if there's if you want to do some kind of a subset of your leads, then you need to first create that view in CRM, and then you can choose it here. So I'm going to just pick all leads, and then when I'm creating the sync, I need to define what mailing list I'm going to add these to. So I already have my CRM contacts. I want to create a separate list for my CRM leads. So I clicked create new list. I give it a name, and then because this is a sync, you can you'll want to say no, because it's basically it's not it's not like you're going to put a form out on a website for people to be able to subscribe in and opt in to this list. So we say no. And oddly, whether you say yes or no, tell subscribers how you know them, is a required field. So I imagine eventually they're going to fix that. But for right now, you can just put not applicable in there and click save. And then I've got some choices here. So if I can say that if somebody is marked as an email opt-out in CRM, I can not exclude them. I can just remove them from the mailing list, or I can remove them from Zoho Campaigns altogether, which is what we would recommend. And then I can exclude converted leads as well. So if a lead has been converted to a contact, then I want to remove that lead from the mailing list. Okay, and then I click next. And then here's that mapping and everything that we already saw. So I'm just going to click save and exit from that. And finally, I want to show you signup forms. So if you're just using campaigns as a way to distribute a newsletter, you might not even have CRM. You can use campaigns as a standalone application. You can create a list, like an opt-in list that has a sign-up form that you would then need to post out on out on the internet, so that people could opt in and sign up for your form or sign up for your mailing list. So that's another option. So actually, let's go in manage lists, and we're going to create a new list. And we're going to call this newsletter opt-in. And now when it says, can subscribers join via signup forms, I say yes. And that was a great example before I clicked in there. Here you're receiving this newsletter because you have signed up for it on our website. So that's the perfect thing of what you want to say. Oops. Okay. And then create. So now at this point, if I already have people that have signed up, I can just import them or add them onesie twosie, or I can create and again, you'd want to create your sign up form anyway. So here's a bunch of options that you can do. You can do a longer form. You can have a library of templates. You can do a horizontal form, compact vertical. So depending on how you want to start your form, you can choose any one of these templates and then, choose the one that suits you the best. And then once you get in here, you can start customizing. So within our signup form, I can add, here's fields that I can drag on and add. I can add, actually, so these are already on there. For the special elements, I can do privacy notes and CAPTCHA. I can change my font size, my color, my background. I can add a logo. And then I can also just click in here and change wording as well. Okay, and then I have some settings on the form where I can change the labels. Okay, so I'm gonna just accept this form as it is for time's sake and click Save and Proceed. And now we have 4 different pages that we want to check the wording on and possibly change. So we have our sign up thank you page, confirmation email, confirmation thank you page, and resubscribe email. And what the difference between confirmation and resubscribe is if they were already on your list or they're a subscriber in your list and at some point they hit unsubscribe and then they join again, they get the resubscribe email. So you can just pop through these and make your edits and make them yours. So as you come in here, you just click the edit icon. I think a lot of this is pretty, self-explanatory. So you can go through again, make sure you go through all 4, check them out, and then at the end you save and get code. And this is kind of similar to web forms in CRM. So I can, so here's all my publish options where I can just go flat out HTML website code. This is for WordPress. This is a link that you can publish. You can make it look like a button. So when they hit the button, the form pops up. This is, again, the raw HTML, which is not much different from, so you do have some notes here that certain things won't work in raw HTML. So that's not good. You can also elect to filter out any CSS that they've added. Again, so here's all your different choices, how you can publish it. And then here's where we can customize the response setup. And so you can work through those and some automation tools. I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm starting to gloss over a little bit of this. My apologies. But the key thing in here is really how to publish it, because just creating the sign up form doesn't get you there. Just like web forms in Zoho CRM, now you've got to publish them somewhere out on your website. Okay, and then there's a nice little copy to clipboard, and you can do it. So you can also do an iframe. It's a little bit easier. And the nice thing about the iframe is then it's synced to your form in here, so that if you come in and make changes, they automatically update on the website, versus if you copy and paste the website code, then you've got to go and update that website code. All right, so I am going to just click out of here. So that's, again, so we looked through setting up mailing lists, synchronizing with your CRM data content, and then you can also do a sign up form and have people opt in to a list outside of CRM. And even if they're in your CRM, you can still do a list that way. So you can create a list and create a form. So even if they're on your other list, your CRM contacts list, you can still set up an opt-in form and have them opt in to this separately from being emailed other things from you through campaigns. Okay. Automation. So let me just make sure there's nothing else. Yeah, I think these are self-explanatory, but we're kind of out of time. So I do want to pop into we're just out of time. So I think for explore automation on your own, and I think what we will do in the future is maybe split campaigns into two parts, where we just do basic campaigns, and then we'll have a class on advanced campaigns, and that will give us more time to get into some of these fancier features of automation. And then also, when you go into settings, this is where you can customize merge tags and add users and all the different things you can do in settings. So those more advanced features will be discussed in a campaigns advanced features class. Look for that to be coming soon. Right, Corey? Okay, so that's pretty much what I have for you today for campaigns. So we spent most of our time in these two tabs, creating campaigns and then managing our subscribers and looking at mailing lists and segmenting mailing lists. And again, 95% of you will probably live in that world. Just be creating campaigns with your synced CRM data and creating segments within your mailing lists to target a subset of your CRM contacts and leads. Okay, so that is Zoho Campaigns. If there are any questions, again, please feel free to use the chat window on the right. And let me go back to my streaming. There we go. Pop into here. Again, we'll leave the chat window live for a couple minutes. So if there's any additional questions, you can get answers quickly. After that, like I said at the beginning, you can either use the live chat widget during business hours on our website, or you can send an email to support@marksgrouplive.com, as you see on your screen. Okay, so I am going to sign out for now. Thank you for watching, and hope you found this informative and useful, and you're excited now to go out there and start using campaigns. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know. We're always here for you.